Well, we're trying some new ventures in a way. So, for
Okay.
example, we've gotten involved in a feature documentary, which is unusual for us, and I call it sort of faith-based adjacent. But it's a feature documentary about follows an archaeologist searching for the lost ark of the Bible. So, no Indiana Jones, but it's the same ark. And so there's a deal in place with Fathom. They're owned by the three major US cinema chains, exhibition companies. And so we have 1,000 screen guaranteed release in March of next year. And so we're actually looking for P&A for that release. And we're going to see what that kind of hopefully successful release will do for how it will impact both international and then the downstream windows in the US. And I will say it's kind of fascinating because Fathom, that they plan those releases way ahead of time. They build the marketing and the publicity, films that are attractive to a more faith-based audience. It's so much about building for group sales. And so, that takes time. It doesn't just happen overnight. And so we're engaged in that. And I find the process really fascinating.
Interesting. You mentioned something very interesting. I wanted to sort of have a sidebar question relating to guaranteed release. In the last couple of years, how have you sort of seen project completion risk? Are you sort of seeing that at all? Have you seen changes on the insurance side? Do you dabble in, or do you sort of get involved on the insurance part?
Looking at insurance, I mean, production was so tough during COVID because you couldn't get
That's right.
regularly required insurance. But what we're seeing is a lot of financiers and even some of the banks are not insisting on a completion bond anymore. And
Okay.
so that's has its own risk. But if you have got directors and producers that have a strong track record as a producer, you're reducing your costs, without having a big contingency or having your bond fees that can reduce the cost of production. But that's just something that those institutions or companies are going to have to assess.